All right, in 2020, Joe Biden did something that no other Democratic presidential nominee had done since 1996, and that is win the state of Arizona. That's right, Biden won the state that was proudly home to Republican firebrands like Barry Goldwater, Jan Brewer, and Joe Arpaio. Now, you would think that the Arizona Republican Party would take a second and maybe reevaluate their strategy after a loss like that, right? Oh, no. They put all their chips in on the MAGA train. And yesterday on Twitter, that same Arizona Republican Party accused a mother and teacher who's running for re-election for state superintendent of public schools. They accused her of being a, quote, groomer. Now, I'd understand if you thought that kind of low-class rhetoric is a fluke from some low-level staffer, but no, not so fast. Let me introduce you to the standard bearers of Arizona's modern Republican Party. Let's start with former TV news anchor Kari Lake, a woman who voted for Barack Obama, but now parrots the big lie.
Let me tell you this, there are no good guys in corporate media. They don't exist. If there were good guys, they would be telling us about hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin.
You've called Joe Biden an illegitimate president. What does that mean?
He lost the election and he shouldn't be in the White House. We had a corrupt election. Don't tell me Joe Biden won 81 million votes. Don't insult my intelligence. I refuse to have it.
Okay, then there's Secretary of State candidate Mark Finchem. He's currently a state legislator and actually tried to decertify the Arizona election, but he failed. Oh, and let me not forget, he's also a member of the Oath Keepers, the right-wing paramilitary group you guys know. And yeah, there's this little fun fact. He actually attended the Capitol insurrection. In a revealing new piece in Politico, a fellow Republican in the Arizona House was shocked at Finchem's success, given that, quote, Mark is known as the guy that's probably the dumbest, well, there's a long list, but one of the dumbest legislators in the state house. Yeah. Then there's Blake Masters. He's a Peter Thiel devotee who wants to unseat Senator Mark Kelly. And Masters claims that Trump won in 2020 and that if he was a senator in 2020, he would have objected to the results. Oh, but there's more about Masters. He also supports a federal personhood law, blames gun violence on black people, and peddles the great replacement theory that Democrats are trying to, quote, change the demographics of our country. Oh, and then there's this. Masters recently praised the Unabomber as an underrated thinker. We have a lot to talk about. So joining me now is Arizona State Senator Raquel Teran. She's chair of the Arizona Democratic Party. And Tim Miller, he's a writer at large for The Bulwark and author of Why We Did It, a travel log from the Republican Road to Hell. I have to start with you, Raquel. I really don't know where to begin, so I will just ask you simply, what the hell is happening with the GOP in Arizona? Because whatever is happening there, it has cast a dark shadow across the entire country.
That's correct. Arizona, sadly, has a long history of extremists. And you name former Sheriff Arpaio, State Senator Russell Pierce, who was the author of SB 1070, the Show Me Your Paper law, by the way, both of whom were ousted by the voters here in Arizona. But since the emergence of Donald Trump, these extremists have taken over the Arizona Republican Party. They are down with the MAGA extremists and that agenda. So candidates like Kari Lake, Masters, Finchem are more concerned with the lies and Donald Trump than they are with helping Arizonans.
Yeah, it's quite frightening to see, Tim. And, you know, I'll push back a little bit on what Raquel said, because I actually don't think this began with Trump. Like, I remember Sarah Palin on the campaign trail. I remember a lot of the rhetoric that Ronald Reagan used. I remember George W. Bush and George Bush and his father. And so it feels like this was bubbling up for a long time. And there was a lot of policy that was harmful. But Donald Trump simply said the quiet part out loud. What do you think, folks, like these never-Trumpers now who have surfaced, how can they take responsibility and help set the country on a different course? Because some of this, it feels like this train has left the station and there might not be saving the Republican Party again.
Well, in Arizona, at least, these Never-Trumpers can start by voting for Mark Kelly and Katie Hobbs in the Senate and the governor race. That is going to be as important of a state in the country as far as protecting our democracy going forward, Arizona and Pennsylvania. And I think that it's important for Democrats to really talk to those voters. That, yes, it's true. There's always been extremists within the Republican Party. There's always been rhetoric that exacerbated racial tensions. We could go down the list, the worst hits list. But Arizona was also a state of people like Jeff Flake, who was a Never-Trumper, of John McCain, who was a moderate Republican on a lot of issues, believed in climate change, saved Obamacare. The voters who liked Jeff Flake and John McCain, those voters the Democrats absolutely need. And Joe Biden won them in 2020. It's why Joe Biden won the state. And we have to be abundantly clear about just how radical the Kari Lakes and Blake Masters are. They're nothing like the John McCain. These are absolutely insane people that are going to be happy to overturn the election on behalf of Donald Trump in 2024. They're pledging that they will do that. That is the reason why they won their primaries. And so I just think it's critical to kind of cleave those voters off in, suburban Phoenix, the types of people that have been Republicans in the past, and to see these extremists for what they are.
Yeah, I mean, Raquel, Tim makes so many good points there. Donald Trump is clearly laying the groundwork to have any election results that the Republican Party doesn't like simply overturned. They're infiltrating the system through random acts of violence. They're infiltrating the system by trying to be elected to disrupt democracy. How will you navigate that in the state of Arizona, particularly given Mark Finchem? I mean, he is a scary character. If he's elected, along with Kari Lake, along with Masters, Arizona's got some problems.
Arizona and the country would have some problems, but I am confident in Arizona voters because, yes, like you said, even though this extreme agenda, MAGA agenda, did not start with Donald Trump, Arizonans have shown that we reject extremism, like we did with Sheriff Arpaio, like we did with Russell Pierce. And I am confident that we are not going to let them win and we'll have our Democrats winning. But it is so dangerous because we all know that the road to preserving American democracy runs through Arizona this November. And that is precisely why we cannot allow Finchem or any of these election deniers win. And I have to make a point that the Republican primary, in this Republican primary, some of these candidates who are the most extreme did not win with at least 50%. So we know that half of their party is rejecting them, and that's right, Tim. We as Arizona Democrats are not only engaging our base, we're engaging our independent voters here in Arizona, and we are welcoming, without compromising our values, of the Republicans.